she's asked for us just to kind of just debrief pretty briefly on the weekend. So if there's any, I think Ruby got their evals in, but any specific things that you're celebrating from the weekend, if there are any hot button topics that would be helpful to address together, we can do that. And then we're going to move on. We have a couple other things we're talking about, and then Danielle and Pablo are going to run us through the set for the weekend. This is something that we're going to give about 5 minutes to in our family meetings moving forward. For the purpose of, we are all here together. This is the time for us to ask questions, to clarify tags, to hear really the heart and the vision of the set, so that Mondays, like literally, there should be no other like. The goal is also to have like speaking transitions, all that stuff locked in on Monday. So we really have from Monday to Thursday to just communicate to teams, prepare, all that kind of stuff. Great. So we'll get some time for that. Yeah, but let's start off just anything from the weekend you wants to highlight?
I'll start. I'm gonna start.
Hey, Krista.
I had such a good weekend.
I was off this
I just
weekend.
want to take I wasn't off, but it was fun.
Really?
Which
That's
is
so
just
good.
about as good as being off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
had
awesome.
Daniel Martz was amazing.
So
He
good.
Which he
played
said he
guitar.
loved. Like he loved
Oh,
the
good.
weekend, and he had a lot of nice things to say about it.
He was just like, yes, it was just amazing. He played guitar, sang. It was just two of us singing, and it was just no stress. His vocal was like so on point. All the harmony, like it was just so easy. I had Clayton on bass, and I had Jason on drums, and that was so much fun. I was like, I get Clayton on my team. I'm so excited. I was just so excited because he's so fun to watch, you know, like to worshiping. And then what I thought was really cool was that one of our new keyboard players, Nicole Leary, was there. And I asked Daniel if he could like kind of be a point person for her to answer questions and kind of help coach her, because I think it was only her second or third time on. And I thought that was really helpful because he was still playing an instrument, but yet able to like really help her and assist her. Like there was some pedal issues on Thursday, and I wouldn't have been able to like troubleshoot that. And I just was so thankful that he was there, and he knew exactly the problem, and he could kind of help her. And cause she's a good piano player, but she just needs coaching with like the keys and the programming and all that. So he really helped her, and just checking in with her and seeing how she was doing, she felt like she really learned and grew a lot just from that weekend having him there. So I was really thankful for that. So the next time she serves, she has more information, you know, to be able to handle herself even better. So it was a great weekend.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel, I was out at San Bernardino, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he and Princess were co-leading. And there's a level of confidence and just awakeness in
Yes.
the spirit, even just being able to be in that place of leading worship. And
I feel like
It
he
was
has
beautiful.
an anointing that is very present on his life.
yeah, we do need to help him not break strings every time. I guess
Yes.
every time he plays, he breaks a string every single time.
During March.
So that could probably be some acoustic
He
coaching.
channels all of this.
Yeah,
energy
it's
into
all-
cameras,
yeah.
so- Even if I'm not percent.
Yeah. He can troubleshoot it really well, you know,
does do
but
You just turn his acoustic guitar up really loud and he's using it.
yeah, it won't be straight.
Fixed.
He's still mayonnaise with headphones on.
Yeah.
Does he play? Does he use the
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
I think that's like he's got some Drake beats on there.
Yeah. That's real.
What are you playing then?
Shoot, I'll start doing that.
Anybody else? Who's gonna go next?
Daniel Martz was on the team for Sunday night, and so after morning, it's always just like, I remember, like every week, I'm like, thank you for being here, like after all the services were already served elsewhere. Like, Joshua was at East Valley,
Yeah.
and then came to Palm Sunday night, so, but it was so great. And got to talk to Daniel for a little bit, and he just like shared like his heart for like how he loves to lead from that place. But he's like, I know that band leading is like what we need right now as a team, and so like that's my heart is just like serve, but it's always like so good, like, and he just had like an energy to him on the Sunday night from being able to do that, which was really cool. And then just came in and like totally like switched gears and band led, and the team was really prepped, so we were able to get creative with some arrangements and stuff, which was fun. So it was really good. It was definitely like a team who served all morning everywhere except for me.
Yeah.
So that was like really, really cool. So it was really good night.
Spencer band led this weekend on the
cool.
drums.
Oh, how'd that go?
It went well.
Everyone.
Yeah. So he said it's a little bit of a challenge of doing what he's doing with all 4 letters, and then having to like decide
How
how to
did
do
that
it.
part
Did they
work?
figure out how to do taco from the kit?
So we set it up behind him and wrapped it around, so it wouldn't necessarily pick up everything he's playing to be in our mix. So he was going like this.
But it is still picking up then, he's not hitting a pedal to have it.
No,
Mm-mm.
it's just.
So it's still
It's
picking
always
up.
live, it's just on.
Was it
Um,
like, could you hear that in your mix?
It wasn't blaring,
Yeah.
and the kid's like literally right behind me already. So
We had this similar
You
thing.
don't even know.
Yeah.
The pedal didn't work a couple weeks ago when Adam Marks was band leading, so we used to have a live mic back there just the whole time right next to the drums. We thought the same thing, we're like,
Yeah.
oh boy, and it didn't actually
yeah.
Too bad.
make that difference.
So this was like the chest round for drummers
Yeah.
to band lead because I think Sean has so wants to try it out with Chris.
And Ken, who's the
And
director.
Ken, yeah.
Get Ken to do that.
So it might work where they can take their left foot off the hi-hat and
Okay.
click it, but it's worth a shot. I don't know.
There once was
Oh,
a
man.
time when you just yelled at the band.
Yeah.
Bridge! Or hand signs.
Oh yeah, dude. I learned the hand signs. That was like worship leader 2001 101
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
Chorus. Bridge. This was bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is keep going. This keep
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
This one's too.
You familiar with this thing?
Dude,
Rich?
I know bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm like bridge. They're like, what is that? It's a bridge.
Not kidding. It's real.
Like, and then you go to the church and I mean, this is bridge, and you're like, what is that a bridge? I mean,
It's like a sad snake.
That's what we had to do.
It's a bridge.
That's what, yeah.
So that's huge because I feel like that's been like with Ken specifically, that's been an obstacle with him being able to move more into a band leader role from the kit. Also, he kind of
Almost
plunked up
died.
his leg.
Yeah.
But trying to figure out how to have funk.
I was like, oh my
I'm
God. Seriously.
sorry, he messed up his leg and did not say the other F word.
This is a safe place. We'll edit.
Kind of
Um,
weird.
So that's really, were there any obstacles in that at all? You don't, or did it worked out?
It was really
pretty
smooth.
good?
He's really
Okay.
good at like being consistent and calling out certain things, and he wasn't as because he can get very technical
Mm.
Yeah.
on notes, but he was open to like collaboration and other people speaking into it. Because we have like Nick Schaefer, we had Nick Schaefer in the band,
Yeah,
Mark Segura, so they're like all technically band leaders.
yeah,
So
that's cool.
it was really good.
East Vale was awesome.
Sweet. Yeah, it was.
What did you just
Were you off? Were you off platform?
Yeah, it was on popcorn. Thanks.
He was-
awesome.
we all
watched
we all
him in the
locked
crowd,
into
which is
locked into
like-
him on the front row. He was going nuts. It was great.
It was so good.
Yeah. Thanks for
And it
being
was like
here.
the biggest service at 8
Yeah, so the 9 o'clock
Wow.
was our biggest 9 o'clock
Yeah.
since launch weekend,
Yeah.
and we had exactly 200. So it was our third week in a row, right around. Yeah, so we had baptism weekend was 212. Last weekend was 195. This last weekend, right? Yesterday was
Yeah.
200.
Cool.
So we've made that like we literally were right around 177,
Yeah.
180, and then just in the last 3 weeks have jumped and have like
Good.
actually hung right there.
Yeah.
So, and that's without Adam Marks bringing all 12 of his children. Like he hasn't been the last couple weeks, but like the week we had 195,
Yeah.
had they just come, we'd have
You
been
would've
over
been.
200, like just one family, So it's crazy how like just
Yeah.
certain families have lots of kids.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think my favorite bit about this weekend was just looking out and seeing God move some people, like really seeing
Yeah,
the
people
presence of God,
crying.
people crying. Like that's, for me, that's all it's about. It's not about people crying, but about really witnessing and being like present with God as being present with people. And just, that's it. That's the whole deal for me. And so, it felt like a really good thing.
Thank you guys so
Yeah,
much for
we
being
had
here.
so much fun. Like we just kept saying afterwards, like we were not tired. We were like, I was actually, I weren't tired at about 8 o'clock. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but after like Arrowhead, we were like,
yeah, like yeah, we were really
Yeah.
tired after like Arrowhead because it's full on like
Right.
like,
Yeah.
the whole thing is
Yeah.
we just felt blessed and energized, and we had such a good team. Like these guys just like jumped in, and we had fun. I had so much fun.
John Brown sent a text to Melanie and I yesterday. I don't know.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember.
he was there.
Yeah, and he just was like, so good. So
It was beautiful. It was a great
Everybody
morning.
showed up randomly yesterday, so he was there,
Okay.
John was there,
Yeah.
a bunch of other network people just, it just
Yeah.
happened to be that
Um,
week. So it was
yeah.
actually really great for me to not have to,
Yeah, you were
not
able
to be
to.
on platform, because I could
Yeah.
help Jonathan with
Oh,
all
it was
the
so good.
things.
Awesome.
It's no comes.
I kept turning around to Gavin to try to communicate with him, and I don't think he looked at me once the whole
Was he
service.
like this?
But and then
Yeah,
my
yeah.
talkback mic, he didn't have it up, so Taylor stepped in and just did all the leading from the drumming side.
He
Taylor
was,
turned around, going, "Come on!"
he was Gavin's personal band leader.
Yeah.
No, he was. He was literally turned around and like started stomping, and then Gavin was like, "Oh yes, here we go."
Yeah, but it was.
Funny guy.
It was actually really nice for me because I turned around and was like, oh, I don't have to worry about it. He's doing it.
That's so good.
And I appreciate it.
He's the guy.
Terry, can you please give
Go,
Garrett
Tim.
And Stephanie was there as well.
Yeah.
Stephanie was.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
she was.
that was one of the things John.
Yeah.
John
I love
mentioned.
that girl. She's
She
You
was
amazing.
guys'
great.
vocals together.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
She was.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
We
I'd
could
also
keep
say
on
about that
raging.
weekend, we had like a rough start with like production stuff going wrong. And I think
Yeah.
we were like almost an hour
Oh yeah.
late. So we only had we only rehearsed for
We
like
just
35. We did a run
We
through.
just did a run through and that's it.
A run
no
through.
sound check. Like no.
Yeah, no nothing. And it was like kind of like sketch, but then it all pulled together and it was like amazing for
It was
services.
great.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things where it was like, oh, we're gonna be all right, and it was really good. So it's cool.
Awesome. Are you rehearsing on Thursday nights?
Yeah.
Here or there yet?
Yeah.
Still here?
They were. It depends on the week.
Yeah.
If Adam's on the team, we go to his house. If a lot of the people are already out here,
Yeah.
then we don't go out there. So
Got
they
it.
just did the chapel
Okay.
this
Cool.
last week.
Yeah.
But Gavin wasn't. He got sick. Like texted me an hour and a half before and said he wasn't able to make it, so they had to go without on Thursday night without him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with our production team, just to note on that, like as they're not as fast on discovering what the problem actually is. So by the end of the morning, we realized Stephanie's pack was panned all the way to one ear. It wasn't the headphones. It wasn't.
Oh,
the,
it wasn't.
Yeah,
So
it
we
was
like
just yeah.
got everything.
But
They
she
did-
never thought
they
to
did
like
everything
lift
they
the
could,
other,
but-
the left one up. It was all panned left, and she had a right one in, and so she's going through different headphones.
Oh,
But like
yeah.
if the production, like normally they would check, hey, first thing, check your pack. Is it panned all the way?
Yeah.
We didn't ask that, and so we.
Yeah.
So that's another thing for
Okay.
our team is like we have to give them a quick rundown or at least keep
Yeah.
them aware of what the most.
Troubleshooting.
Yeah,
things
like
are.
the most
Common-
possible,
common
common
things, yeah.
things are,
Yeah.
and have
I
them
mean,
check
they
those
did.
first.
They did everything.
Oh, they were doing everything.
Had
They
to
were
do.
awesome.
They
They
made
were
everything. Best
the
team.
nicest people.
Yeah.
But I literally had time to strum my guitar once and go, okay, that's my tone for the day. We didn't get to
No, there was just
do
none. But
the transitions.
you know what? There was just an open heaven,
It was awesome.
and it was beautiful. Like,
Thank you
it was
guys for being here so
good.
much. It was great.
Yeah,
Really great.
it was great. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's enough. No,
It was good.
That's just only because it's so random.
It was good though. It was, I know, yeah. The whole.
I'm
Yeah,
glad you
but
got a
also
weekend.
Stephanie
Yeah.
Off
was,
of.
Stephanie was like my package.
Yeah. Oh, it was awesome. Like it was.
I can't do the songs like you do the songs. I was like,
Oh yeah,
no,
she
you
was.
can't. You can
She's
hear
like,
yourself.
do you want to
just
just
let it rip.
do it? Because like our ears didn't work, and I was like, absolutely not. You
We'll
got
wing it on
Yeah.
the click track for the,
Just do it,
for the
man.
last song. and-
Just do it.
What's
You
the
know?
room feel like in there? Can you hear like you've got a?
Oh, yeah.
Is it kind of like with?
It's fine.
You can
It's
hear it
absolutely
coming back
fine.
off the
Sounds
wall.
like a
no
chimpanzee.
problem.
It's like 5 seconds late.
later.
But
How were things at HB for you? Base,
Ronald.
is he on base?
He
Ronald,
The guy who-
introduces himself as Ron. So it's like, okay, whatever name you want.
Ronaldo.
You're fine.
And he doesn't want to go by Ronaldo, or Ronnie, or Shine Ronnie, or Ron.
Oh, he just wants Ronald.
No, he was open to anything.
Oh, okay.
He was so chill. He did great. Jumped right in.
He's
Yeah.
got a really nice stage presence. Eh?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, he
just
just
got
bops
this
back and
nice
forth.
little
Yeah.
bop. Yeah, it's really cool.
He's so proficient. He's
Yeah.
he's an incredible bass player. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, team did really well. Learned a couple of things just about like some of the capacity of our team members and things and such. So that was good. But I think the best thing was our huddle after third service on Sunday, and hearing all of the girls just like genuinely praising one another. I'm like, oh, this is exactly it. Like each one was like, man, Sarah, you did so good. I could feel just how connected you were to God in that moment, and it translated the way you like the song, and just like them all just like encouraging one another. And then for Sarah, who I got to hear a little bit of her story a little more, for her to even say, thank you guys, every single time I'm here, I feel like a little bit more safe. So, okay, let's wrap it up. Let's go. Like it was so good just watching our team not only execute the weekend well, but really like minister to each other well, to really connect with God and with the church well. Like just the real heart of it. And so it was really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
Sarah, I thought she did a beautiful job on Worthy. I hadn't heard her sing. She did more like up tempo songs and tempo stuff. So I think that was one of the first songs I heard her kind of a little bit more pull back. And I think it was the 8:15 service I was able to catch. But it was really pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty
Does she have long
present.
dark hair? Long
Yeah.
dark hair? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't met her actually,
Yeah.
but I just
She's small but mighty.
small
Mm.
okay.
So I was thinking about how she's like, yes, it was really nice to hear her do her softer, but she's got this ability to break through. Like she's got a breakthrough spirit on her, and I worked out it's probably because she does weightlifting. But no, but she experiences in the physical a breakthrough, you know, and she's probably doesn't even know she can do it in spirit, but she can.
Yeah.
And she can crack open that room, and so when she opens a lot, and she just cracks open the room, and it's beautiful. But I just made that
That's
little
probably
thing.
when she's most vulnerable, is when she's leading worship.
Yeah. Oh, it's to me
And
it's
that's
stunning
just
what she
strange.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of it, is she's so sort of like composed and reserved that's probably the space where she feels like she doesn't have to put up
Yeah,
and be
anymore,
strong. Like
yeah.
she can just be who she's supposed to be.
So good.
Yeah,
You're doing
cool.
a good job at
That's sweet.
Any other weeks for the weekend? Couple things that Melody and I noticed, or I don't know if you caught this too, just reading some of the emails, but just some band members this weekend. It seems like there was like 3 campuses who had people that either kind of backed out last minute or something shifted or of course got sick, but and I think we had something like that 2 weeks ago or even the week before. So Melody, I'm gonna work on an email that I'm gonna send out to you guys that you can then kind of craft with your own personality, but she'd like all the campus worship leaders to send this out to their teams this week, an email, just first of all thanking them for just a summer accommodations with people's schedules, vacations, and serving. So really just like thanking the team, but then also just kind of rallying like the importance of, you know, when you confirm, you know, following through on that confirmation instead of backing out on a Wednesday or Thursday. Of course, if things come up, we understand, but just really being able to cast vision again for them, you know, as we wrap up summer, go into the fall, you know, we really need you to, that commitment, that 2 to 3 times a month, when you say yes, please follow through, it really affects our team. So I'll work on putting some language that's kind of standardized for that, so it's consistent, and then you guys can just do your, Eddie, Daniel, follow, you know, just do your little thing for your own campuses, just so it feels personal and it's from you. So we want to get that out this week before rehearsal. So I'll be working on that, prior to you by tomorrow morning at the latest.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I've heard a couple over the last just few weekends, like dress code. Like people who have just been on the team for a while or maybe didn't read through the new edition packet, like surprised at, because I've had to correct a couple of things. And some people asking for that is, so I think the whole team might need to like see it again.
Yeah.
Does it feel like this time to do that, or maybe just like another time in another way? Because I don't want to take away from that like message. You know what I mean?
I think what I can do is make sure you guys all have access to the dress code. I think we're also working on updating that, but in the meantime, if you wanna then just be able to send that out as you need to. I always think it's, you know, if you need to make an adjustment for the weekend, cause it's just like, we have to make this change and here's a little cover up or whatever. But I always like ways that we can kind of do it as the masses instead of singling people out, you know, so. If you could just like, hey, we haven't updated our teams for a while, just, is this gonna be hot for price over the next 2 months? Kind of thing. So I'll make sure you guys have access to that.
I think it's on the
Is it on the worship
Google
team drive? Okay.
I had a guy show up in a kilt once.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm like, what size jeans do you wear, mate?
Yeah. I think we've done that too.
Oh, really?
A kilt?
Kilt?
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worn one.
That one guy. No, oh no, I wasn't sure
It
if
wasn't a
Culture
big
was
deal till I
that
started
one
dancing around.
guy, the bass player.
I mean, I wear it around the house, I just don't wear it at church.
Black on the
What's that guy's name?
He doesn't play anymore, but.
Whoa.
Yeah, so the dress code should be on the worship team drive.
Woodcrest.
So if you wanna send
Is
that out.
Woodcrest? Older fellow?
Wore a kilt?
We had
Oh.
that one guy who
Yes.
also had
Yes.
the prayer thing.
That's our
Yes.
dude, yeah.
So you're talking about Kevin, who wore the prayer?
Kevin Scholl.
He wore a kilt?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I
could
think
see
he did
that.
one time. Yeah, okay, so moving on.
Oh, like, I think I was here for it.
I was
didn't
gonna
know.
that.
Yeah.
Just real quick update, so those who were a part of the training team for the bullpen training that we did on July 29th, all 5 of the people we invited came out. So I just wanna give an update for everybody else. So that's Emily Harold, Mandy Kesey, Joanna, Zagura, how do you say it?
It's close, it's really close.
Joanna,
Joanna.
Joshua Baker, and then Lauren.
She did?
Yeah, sorry.
I
And then Lauren Weber. So out of those 5, 4 have said they're willing to move forward in the training. Lauren is not yet. So what that means is that they are scheduled on your team. We want to be able to hand over as much responsibility. Begin having them shouting you if they haven't run a vocal rehearsal yet. Band rehearsal, just give them reps to do that. And then sooner than later, probably within the next 2 to 3 times they're scheduled, we want to be able to hand the full weekend over to them. So some of, like Joanna, you've already been doing that. So, but like Emily Harrell, I mean, like she's scheduled in the worship leader role.
At Eastvale and East Valley.
Okay,
In the coming month.
so we also want to be able just to give coaching and immediate feedback. So just know that if you are with them, that is your role, is to encourage, celebrate them, but also that they were prepared that they're going to be receiving coaching and feedback. So try not to wait to the end of the weekend. You know, if there's something really glaring that needs to be adjusted, please do that throughout the weekend. If it's more like, hey, you need to open your eyes more, you know, say something like that for debriefing after, unless you think that they can make that adjustment right away and not have them, you know, thrown off kilter too much.
Has
But,
Lauren had the opportunity to sing at any other campuses or just like Erica?
She's been at San
She's
Bernardino.
yeah, I think she was at San Bernardino, and I want to say earlier on she did maybe Hunter Park once.
Nope.
I don't know
tried.
on the team with me at least
Stole her.
once or
Did you sing
twice. Huh?
You sang it for here?
I think
I
so.
tried a couple times.
I think so. That was before she was coming down here with a friend, and so but Lake Eric's her campus.
Yeah.
Is there a place to see like what you guys went over in the training?
Just like that.
Yes, there is a slide deck that we can share with you. Yeah, it's basically all the nuts and bolts of, you know, how to run a rehearsal, what our set planning process is. We did all the preparation of Robo, got into just kind of spiritualism. the spiritual, logistical side of running a weekend and all that kind of stuff. But I can share the slide deck with you.
Just wondering like where to meet them in that process,
Yeah.
like where I'm meeting them, I guess.
Yeah. And think about the people who are in that training, they are already proven leaders. They've already been really, like Joshua, you already handed a bunch to him. Now it's like, where's the gap? Has he run a vocal rehearsal yet? You know, has he talked to the production leader yet? Has he put, adjusted keys on planning center? Those types of things when they train them.
Do they have access to the right like editing and things?
They will, and they will be added on Slack channels too. We just wanna give them a couple weeks to really get their legs underneath them and get them in capacity before we kind of make all those changes, cause we wanna see how they handle the responsibility.
It was a lot to take in one night. Like, so they'll need a lot of reminding of all that stuff, but they also got handed the slide deck, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's
We're gonna video
probably a
it, so-
reference back to, just go back and have a look at to refresh or whatever.
Yeah, but I'll have
Sure.
Josh's. Yeah, I mean, I can send that to you. Cool, and then I think, this announcement is gonna come out in the staff communicator, I believe today, if it hasn't already. But just to let you know, Melody wanted me to pass this on, so Luke Doan's role in production is changing and shifting a bit. So his role is gonna be shifting to, weekend programming supervisor. So he will be, helping to coordinate with, like the three components of the weekend, so hosting, production, and worship. As he goes around to different campuses, he'll be helping to facilitate, to speak into that. He's gonna be doing it like he's been doing a lot of the videos. He'll be working with Steve, on training videos and, other things like that too. So more information on that will be coming out, but his role is shifting a little bit. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. If you have any questions, you can just connect with Melody on the specifics, but that's effective this week.
That's amazing.
That's all, I have, so if you wanna go ahead and walk us through, the weekend, and then we'll make sure we leave about, 10 minutes just to pray together, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
So if you wanna pull up your campus plan, perhaps we can just verify while we're up here. Campus worship leaders, just a reminder, you are responsible for making these network changes to your campuses every single weekend, even if you are not on the platform. And then network worship leaders, you kind of take it over from then making things specific to your team that weekend, any sort of direction. We're gonna go over, this is like the network stuff, so then really from here you can then flesh out what it looks like for you at your campus and with your teams. But this week, so we're starting with Raise a Hallelujah, and we've expanded the verbiage just a little bit for this week on like the welcome, and so just welcome Sandwich Church, let's all stand and sing. There's like a short little, just a summary of a psalm kind of as a call to worship, and it should be brief, no more than like 2 or 3 sentences. That is, you can find that on the network plan. If you go under to details, it's in there. You can also find it on the Worship Leader Weekend notes, which are also updated as well. So we'll do Raise a Hallelujah. From there, go into Another in the Fire. And then as a tag to Another in the Fire, after you do kind of chorus 3 and tag that line, Count the Joy from Every Battle, you're gonna tag the chorus of No Longer Slaves, and that's really just gonna be like more of a sweet moment, inviting the church to really sing out the chorus. We're not gonna build that up. We're not building that song out a ton. It's just singing through that chorus once or twice and then tagging the last line a couple times. No Longer Slaves and Another in the Fire, if you can keep that in the same key as much as possible, those two should be considered as kind of one, connected together.
Sorry. They're Another in Fire and No Longer Slaves, is that what you meant?
Yes.
In the same key.
The same key. Is that what they said?
No, you mean
there
No
are
Longer
two
There's
different
Slaves
two
right
different
now.
keys on the network plan, so just like CMG is what it looks like.
No, sorry, Another in the Fire and
You mean No Longer Slaves and King of My Heart?
no,
No?
Another in the Fire and No Longer Slaves, just that chorus tag, that
Oh,
should keep those in the same key.
Is that
You then can change keys going into King of My Heart. That's where a good spot would be to change keys.
And the tag being just I
Just-
am a child of God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Later on, we'll sing more of No Longer Slaves, but that can be in a different key. That's totally fine. So after you just sing that I am a child of God, and you can start the intro of King of My Heart. And we've done this arrangement once before, and that is updated on the network plan. So if you hover over here, you'll see the new MP3 is actually an arrangement Pablo and I did at Hunter Park several weekends back. So it's all of King of My Heart, and then after that, kind of that final big chorus, you go into the interlude of No Longer Slaves, and then you're singing that bridge of No Longer Slaves, and that's kind of where you're ending it. You're ending it big and kind of high energy. So the roadmap is on the network plan as well. So I made this morning a few changes to just notes and such. So you can find all of that on this doc, the weekend notes doc. At the very bottom, all of the notes that are on the plan, I've put those in there for you. So you can go ahead and copy and paste the updated notes into your plan from here, so you don't have to be going back and forth between two different PCO things. There's no, other than over the intro, Praise the Hallelujah, there's no like focused speaking points or anything like that, so just be thinking through how you want to lead and encourage the church along through singing throughout the set. There's a couple of really great spots, like especially in Another in the Fire before you go into verse 3. That's a really great spot. Over the interlude of Praise the Hallelujah, before kind of building back into it, that's another great spot. The church really sings out on King of My Heart, so you probably won't have to do a ton there, but really like thinking about leading them through those first couple of songs, so by the time you get to King of My Heart, you're really just singing the first couple lines, and they're kind of taking it from there. So and then after, at the very end of the message, we're going to close out with Tremble. Keep in mind when you go into rehearsal on Thursdays, just your arrangements. I don't anticipate right now, it says Raise a Hallelujah slated for 7.5 minutes. I don't anticipate that being the case. It would give you some buffer time, but just, yeah, being really intentional about your arrangements and stuff, so you can keep things on the not going over time side of things. So, that's the gist.
Are you
Questions?
still moving the network plan over to Lake Arrowhead?
I'm not doing these right now,
Yeah.
so Anthony.
Yeah.
is doing it.
Is the designated worship leader the one that's supposed to decide the keys?
You just move over notes so that they have all the information, and then they can.
What's the typical Raise a Hallelujah song minute length for just the standard version of it? Is it?
It's
really?
like 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just the when he built it back up at the end,
Yeah.
right?
And really, like, you can if you want to.
Oh no, I just
Depends
want
on
to
if
be
you're saying that.
standard. I just want
Yeah.
to show what the standard.
Well,
like,
how
the-
we've been doing
Yeah, how
it,
long is the way we?
like 5.5
Okay, cool. So this is an intentional, just a couple extra minutes that you've just given to
Yeah.
buffer and whatever. Okay.
you also don't have to. It's an option.
Which one raise hallelujah for?
If you wanna stifle the Holy Spirit, you can stifle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about space. I just be.
I don't know about you, Holy Spirit's not really up and running by the time of the service yet.
My P's and Q's on this plan. It's-
Yeah.
And then you're saying, so the King of My Heart, then going back into No Longer Slaves, that's the tag. Did you already cover what the tag was on that?
So,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I don't want to like overcomplicate it because it's like not. I feel like it looks complicated on here, but it's really not. So the No Longer Slaves, the single item that I'm hovering over right now, consider that as a tag to Another in the Fire.
Yes.
So it's no chart for Tremble?
Sorry, I just said it.
There should be. Hold on, I'll get rid of that. The King of My Heart and No Longer Slaves. That's more like this thing. And it's a. Does this make sense?
Oh, and that's the arrangement that you have.
And that's an arrangement, and that's
Okay.
What? Sorry, is this the Holy Spirit? What?
Yeah. This is like they're married together, like they're
Oh.
intertwined. So
Got it.
there is a chart to tremble.
Oh, whoa. And then you split the seed.
Yeah. Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions? So there should be no other, unless there's a audible from Pastor Matt or something like that. Speaking transitions, all that's locked in, so everything can be communicated out today.
This is final. And weekend notes just too, those are like your notes, that's the guideline, and then this is an example, so don't feel like you have to follow this, like do what works for you, what feels natural for you to lead. But just we're kind of doing more of a call to worship, short, condensed, rather than a stand and sing. So.
It's a set for next week, that's on the network plan, is that good to go?
Yeah.
It's good.
Sweet. Good.
Is any, I knew the Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit's in the room.
Anybody have any final thoughts, or before we break into praying for each other for a few minutes?